Did you know that some of Hollywood's biggest stars, the very faces you once idolized on screen, the ones you thought were flawless, were actually considered nightmares to work with in real life? Behind the glamour and the roles that captivated the world, there were explosive temper tantrums, backstage shocking moments of rudeness, and behaviors completely different from the polished image they presented to the public. In today's video, we're diving deep into the darker side of 10 A-list actors, people whose real-life actions might make you rethink everything you believed you knew about them. Leave a 1 in the comments if you sympathize with these stars, or a 0 if you feel differently. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss any of our exciting videos. Gwyneth Paltrow, once hailed as one of Hollywood's most relatable stars, has gradually become one of the most controversial figures in the industry. Known for her easygoing personality and ability to portray a variety of characters, Paltrow built an image as a Hollywood star who was both glamorous and approachable. However, in recent years, that image has begun to change. Much of the intense backlash she has faced stems from her off-screen persona, particularly her bold and sometimes shocking statements about health that she promotes through her lifestyle brand Goop. Goop, which is known for its beauty products and health practices leaning towards natural remedies, has faced significant criticism. Many medical experts and consumers have opposed her promotion of treatments that lack scientific backing, and some have even raised concerns about the safety and effectiveness of the products. Her advocacy for extreme diets and body detox philosophies has only added to the controversy, making Paltrow a target for public ridicule. This has transformed her from a beloved star into one of the most debated figures in the entertainment industry. Her extremely restrictive eating habits and body detox philosophy have faced criticism from nutrition experts who argue that they risk normalizing eating disorders. Some of her former friends even joke that she turned eating disorders into a business. This viewpoint further fueled the belief that her advice is completely out of touch with reality. Paltrow also sparked controversy with comments many Americans found disrespectful, such as claiming that being the mother of a celebrity is harder than having a regular job. Over the years, Gwyneth Paltrow has faced accusations of being aloof in public, reinforcing the notion that she is living in a world disconnected from everyday challenges. She has been criticized for appearing cold and sometimes distant, leading many to feel she doesn't truly connect with the issues most of the public faces. Stories surrounding her luxurious lifestyle and her perceived difference in living from the average person have only widened the gap between her and her longtime fans. Despite the criticism, Paltrow remains unapologetic about her actions. In an interview, she confidently said, "I am who I am. I can't pretend to be someone who makes $25,000 a year." This statement only further highlights her out-of-touch reputation, as she seems to live in a world completely separate from the rest of society. Nevertheless, she continues to maintain a strong presence in the entertainment industry, running Goop, hosting wellness events, and occasionally acting. Her evolution highlights the complex intersection between fame, privilege, and the wellness culture, as well as how someone who was once America's sweetheart can quickly become the subject of public debate. Charlie Sheen's off-screen behavior has long overshadowed his talent, turning him from the highest-paid TV star into one of Hollywood's most infamous cautionary tales. His controversial behavior has only grown more pronounced as events surrounding his personal life and drug abuse habits became the focus of media attention. Sheen, once a major star on 2.5 Men, quickly saw his career plummet after a public feud with Chuck Lorre, the creator of the show. During this feud, Sheen made bizarre remarks calling Lorre a piece of crap and uttering other provocative comments. Soon after, he made statements that became iconic for his cocky and defiant attitude, such as claiming he had the DNA of Adonis and that he always wins, even as he spiraled deeper into substance abuse and reckless decisions that alienated colleagues, friends, and family. All of this changed his image in the public eye, transforming a bright star into a figure of controversy and becoming a cautionary lesson for those dreaming of the glamorous Hollywood lifestyle. Charlie Sheen's chaotic lifestyle included heavy drug use and unstable relationships, most notably with his ex-wife Denise Richards, who expressed concerns about his erratic temper and outbursts. Their relationship, once considered a Hollywood power couple, quickly became one of the most talked-about stories in the industry as constant arguments and Sheen's violent negative behavior became public. Denise Richards spoke out about the difficulties of living with him, voicing concerns about how his explosive temper and erratic behavior affected their family and children. Sheen's firing by 2.5 men in 2011 marked a major turning point in his career. This was a clear example of how fame can collapse rapidly under the weight of self-destruction. His reckless actions and poor decisions pushed him into a difficult situation, shattering a promising television career and severely damaging his public image. Looking back, Sheen admitted in an interview with ITV, "It felt really bad. I don't know why I created that kind of chaos." This statement from Sheen serves as an admission of his poor decisions and reckless actions in the past, which led to the loss of his career and personal relationships. His outbursts and self-destructive behavior caused him to face serious consequences, not only professionally, but also personally. However, in recent years, he has made efforts to rebuild his life. Sheen has worked hard to maintain his sobriety, overcome challenges, and gradually return to acting with guest roles and new projects in the works. Reese Witherspoon, long adored for her warm and charming public image, faced an unexpected setback in 2013 when she was arrested for disorderly conduct during a late-night traffic stop involving her husband. The incident occurred when the police pulled over her and her husband in a quiet neighborhood late at night. In the dash cam footage, Witherspoon can be seen disregarding the officer's instructions to stay in the car and challenging the officer with the now famous line, "Do you know my name?" A statement that sharply contradicted the glamorous Hollywood image she had spent years cultivating. This moment was shocking, not only for her blatant defiance of an authority figure, but also because it highlighted the contrast between a beloved Hollywood star and her personal life, which was far from the picture-perfect image many had admired. She didn't just face backlash from the public, but the incident significantly tarnished her reputation after years of being adored. It served as a stark reminder that fame, no matter how great, can be easily impacted by a moment of loss of control, and fans can quickly turn from admiration to criticism after an unfortunate event. Her escalating defiance, captured on camera quickly, became national news, revealing a side of her that few had seen. Looking back, Witherspoon publicly expressed regret. She later admitted, "I disrespected the officer who was just doing his job. The things I said that night do not reflect who I am." Most fans considered the incident an unusual mistake, but it shows how easily public perception can shift when private behavior veers off script. Since then, Witherspoon has worked hard to rebuild trust, becoming involved in charitable work, advocating for women's rights, and running her production company, Hello Sunshine, which focuses on women-led stories. She continues acting while expanding her role as a major force behind the scenes. Although the arrest remains a memorable stain, many view it as a lesson rather than a serious mistake, proving that even the most admired stars can have their bad nights, but can rise above them. Jesse James, once known as a charismatic motorcycle builder and a reality TV star, saw his image collapse following a series of scandals in his marriage to Sandra Bullock. Before the events came to light, James was a well-known figure in the motorcycle and television world, recognized for his skills and charm. However, his career began to crumble when shocking revelations about his marriage to Sandra Bullock were exposed to the public. While Sandra Bullock was filming The Blind Side, several women came forward claiming affairs with James, including tattoo model Michelle "Bombshell" McGee. These relationships not only hurt Bullock, but also pushed James into a difficult position, severely damaging his Hollywood star image. These revelations created a media storm, turning James into one of the most heavily criticized villains of that time. The tabloid revelations left Sandra Bullock devastated, and as soon as the truth came to light, Jesse James left, turning him into one of Hollywood's most notorious villains at the time. The public exposure of James's extramarital affairs not only hurt Bullock, but also shattered his image in the eyes of the public. After the scandal broke, James attempted to explain his actions with a dismissive statement: "I cheated on my wife." However, this comment only fueled the public's outrage. James seemed unaware of the severity of his actions, as he casually made a flippant remark about his infidelity, as if it were just another mistake that many men make. Instead of showing genuine remorse, his statement only deepened the disappointment and criticism from his fans, making James one of the most prominent villainous figures in Hollywood. Jesse James's engagement to Kat Von D also ended abruptly after she accused him of infidelity, once again reinforcing the perception that James was struggling with commitment, respect, and honesty in his relationships. This high-profile relationship, which had drawn significant media attention, quickly crumbled when allegations of cheating were made public. This incident further solidified James's image as someone who had difficulty keeping commitments and was untrustworthy. In later interviews, James admitted that he was struggling with anger issues and deep personal flaws, even sharing that he couldn't always control his negative emotions. However, many still felt that his apology lacked sincerity and was not enough to mend the damage he had caused. James's story became a prime example of how relationships can be destroyed by a lack of honesty and commitment. While Bullock rebuilt her life with Grace-adopted children and refocused on her career, James faced continued backlash, overshadowing his once successful television career. He is now more reclusive, focusing on custom motorcycle and gun projects in Texas. His story remains a reminder of how infidelity can destroy not only public reputation, but also the lives of those affected. Lucille Ball, the legendary face of I Love Lucy, captivated an entire nation. With her sharp wit, brilliant comedic timing, and irresistible charm, a combination that made her the undisputed queen of sitcoms and an enduring icon of American television. On screen, she radiated warmth, joy, and a sense of lovable mischief, making viewers feel as though they truly knew her. Yet behind the scenes, those who worked closely with her often described a personality far more complex than the sweet, bubbly characters she portrayed. They recalled a Lucille who was intensely serious about her craft, meticulous to the point of being demanding, and someone who carried the weight of her success with a deep sense of responsibility. At times, this pressure manifested as sternness, especially when she felt that others were not matching her level of professionalism or commitment. In the years that followed, Hollywood insiders continued to spread rumors that Lucille Ball could be brusque or distant with people she didn't consider part of her inner circle, a stark contrast to the warm and affectionate persona beloved by the public. One widely repeated anecdote claims that during a flight she refused to speak directly to a flight attendant and instead communicated only through an assistant, a moment often cited as the polar opposite of her cheerful on-screen personality. Whether perfectly accurate or embellished over time, the story has become symbolic of the sharp divide between Lucille's public image and certain private interactions attributed to her. True or not, these tales only add to her mystique, painting her as a multifaceted figure who was both approachable and enigmatic, embodying the duality of a performer who shined under the spotlight while fiercely guarding her private world. If this famous anecdote surprised you or changed the way you see Lucille, drop a 1 in the comments. And if you think it's just Hollywood legend, drop a 0. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more untold stories behind the stars. Her strong opinions also influenced her family life. Ball was said to disapprove of her son, Desi Jr.'s romantic relationship with actress Patty Duke, a relationship she felt could harm his public image. While some see this as a motherly instinct, others believe it created unnecessary emotional stress for both young stars. Colleagues often described her as a perfectionist, strict and controlling with determination, sometimes overshadowing her kindness. Even Richard Burton, one of the biggest stars of his era, once wrote in his diary that Lucille Ball was a monstrously rude woman, a striking description that forces us to think about the gap between a celebrity's public image and their private interactions behind the spotlight. His harsh remark, though only reflecting his personal experience, further highlights the sharp contrast between the love audiences had for Lucille and the sometimes less pleasant impressions noted by some of her colleagues. It shows that, like many major icons of Hollywood's golden age, Lucille was a multi-layered person, a gifted performer with sharp edges, someone who could be difficult at times and who didn't always fit neatly into the expectations the public placed on her. Today, Lucille Ball's legacy remains powerful, despite all the backstage stories and speculation. She continues to live on through countless reruns of I Love Lucy, various retrospective documentaries, and especially the acclaimed film Being the Ricardos, which recreates the pressure-filled creative years of her life. Lucille's talent is undeniable. Her command of the stage, her comedic timing, and her ability to generate endless laughter cemented her as one of the most influential figures in American television. But just as important is the complex, imperfect, and deeply layered woman behind those laughs, someone who battled pressure, expectations, and responsibility in a demanding industry. It is this very duality that has made Lucille Ball a figure both dazzling and enigmatic, a legend who continues to be analyzed, celebrated, and debated to this very day. Edward Norton praised for his outstanding performances in American History X Fight Club, and Birdman has long been known as one of Hollywood's most talented yet difficult personalities. While his characters are often complex and behind-the-scenes stories create a more controversial picture, Norton is also famous for his extreme perfectionism, a style admired by some colleagues but seen as imposing by others. His role as Bruce Banner in The Incredible Hulk became the most iconic example in the industry when Marvel decided not to bring him back for the Avengers. Kevin Feige once stated that Marvel was looking for an actor who could embody the collaborative spirit of the entire Avengers team, a comment widely interpreted as a subtle yet pointed critique of Edward Norton's earlier behavior while involved with the role of Bruce Banner. Despite Norton's undeniable talent and reputation for delivering deeply layered performances, he was also known for being firm, meticulous, and intensely hands-on in creative processes, sometimes to the frustration of those around him. His approach occasionally clashed with Marvel's need for cohesion and a unified vision across a massive cinematic universe, ultimately becoming one of the key reasons the studio felt compelled to move in a different direction. This was not the first time Norton's creative involvement sparked debate. Earlier in his career, he faced criticism during the development of Frida, where his uncredited rewrites reportedly caused tension with the original screenwriters. The incident fueled perceptions that while brilliant and full of ideas, Norton sometimes pushed beyond the boundaries of his assigned role, blurring the line between artistic contribution and creative control. Combined with the later conflicts at Marvel, these controversies contributed to a public image of Norton as both a remarkable and polarizing artist, one whose pursuit of perfection, though admirable, occasionally disrupted the collaborative balance expected in large-scale productions. These controversies left many fans feeling conflicted. On one hand, they recognized Edward Norton's remarkable talent and the emotional depth he brought to his performances. On the other, they couldn't ignore the stories about his temperamental nature and his sometimes excessive assertiveness during collaborations. This duality made Norton both admired and debated, cementing his reputation as one of Hollywood's most complex figures. In the aftermath of these incidents, Norton himself began reflecting more deeply on the pitfalls of fame. He admitted that fame can be corrosive if one is not careful, and emphasized the importance of humility and collaboration as essential components of meaningful artistic work. In recent years, Norton has gradually stepped away from high-pressure blockbuster environments, choosing instead to pursue more selective roles, projects with nuance, emotional resonance, and personal significance. He has also moved behind the camera producing independent films and dedicating substantial energy to environmental activism, a cause he has championed for over a decade. Yet his legacy remains layered alongside his undeniable artistic achievements. From American History X to Birdman, there remain stories of ego-creative clashes and personal intensity. This dynamic contrast makes Edward Norton one of the most intriguing artists of his generation, a brilliant talent whose legacy is shaped by both triumphs and tensions, light and shadow in equal measure. Patrick Dempsey, beloved for his role as Dr. Derek McDreamy Shepherd in Grey's Anatomy, has long been known as the charming heartthrob of prime-time television. But the behind-the-scenes stories tell a much more complex tale. Former producer James D. Perry revealed that some actors experienced stress similar to PTSD due to Dempsey's behavior, claiming he could be intimidating and difficult to work with. As tensions rose, Shonda Rhimes was reportedly warned that she would leave the show if things didn't change, a final ultimatum that contributed to McDreamy's dramatic exit in season 11. Co-stars were also said to be frustrated by Dempsey's frequent complaints about long working hours, even though many other actors worked even longer hours. Rhimes herself witnessed what she described as disruptive fits of irritability, ultimately choosing to prioritize a healthier work environment over protecting one of the show's most iconic characters. Looking back on his career, Dempsey admitted that maintaining a packed schedule for 11 years was tough, but you have to be grateful for it. Although Patrick Dempsey has long been known for his charm, warmth, and effortless charisma on screen, many people behind the scenes have suggested that gratitude was not always reflected in his early behavior during his time on Grey's Anatomy. Reports of tension, conflicts, and moments of unprofessional conduct created a more complicated picture of the actor, one that sharply contrasted with the polished, gentle persona of McDreamy that audiences adored. This divide sparked ongoing conversations among fans, leaving some surprised and others conflicted as they tried to reconcile the beloved character with the less flattering stories that emerged from backstage. Since leaving the show, however, Dempsey has made considerable efforts to rebuild his public image. He returned to film roles, participated in charitable racing events, and appeared in high-profile projects such as Disenchanted and Ferrari, signaling a renewed commitment to both his craft and his personal growth. Even so, the contrast between McDreamy's tender, noble personality and the alleged behind-the-scenes issues continues to shape how fans perceive him today. Dempsey's journey serves as a reminder that the idealized version of a character and the complexities of the actor portraying them do not always align, and navigating that duality has become an ongoing part of how his career and legacy are understood. Julia Roberts, beloved for her iconic roles in Pretty Woman and My Best Friend's Wedding, has long captivated audiences with her radiant on-screen presence. But behind that warm exterior lies a story full of complex moments. During the production of Hook in 1991, Roberts was reportedly very difficult to work with, to the point where some crew members gave her the not-so-flattering nickname Tinker Hell. Director Steven Spielberg later admitted that it was not an ideal time for Julia and me to collaborate, referring to the tension that had overshadowed the project. Her private life at the time only added to the chaos. Roberts' public breakup with Kiefer Sutherland during filming was believed to have impacted her focus and contributed to the increased stress on set. She also faced widespread rumors of conflicts with co-stars such as Nick Nolte and whispers of creative tension with actors like Hugh Grant and Mel Stray, though none of these claims were officially confirmed. Her brother, Eric Roberts, publicly spoke about their periods of estrangement, suggesting that part of the issue stemmed from ego and personality clashes. These stories illustrate a portrait of Julia Roberts as a star whose dazzling on-screen charm doesn't always align with the reputation she carries behind the scenes. Although she has long been celebrated as America's sweetheart, not everyone who has worked with her shares that universally warm impression. Some accounts suggest that her professionalism and high standards can occasionally be interpreted as being overly demanding or difficult to approach. Roberts herself has acknowledged that she may sometimes come across as too strict, emphasizing that such moments are never intentional, but rather stem from her desire to uphold quality and responsibility in her work. This level of self-awareness adds depth to her public persona, revealing a more complex figure than the endlessly friendly image often associated with her. In recent years, Roberts has made conscious efforts to cultivate a more grounded and mature public image. She has returned to the spotlight through high-profile projects like Ticket to Paradise and Leave the World Behind, proving that her star power remains undeniable even as she becomes more selective and less focused on maintaining constant visibility. At the same time, Roberts has chosen to keep her family life strictly private, shielding her children from media attention and reinforcing the importance of personal boundaries. Her blend of professionalism, thoughtful self-reflection, and commitment to a quieter home life has helped reshape how the public sees her, a major Hollywood figure who balances fame with real humanity, growth, and intention. Tommy Lee Jones is known for his strong, straightforward roles, and his off-screen personality often mirrors that intensity. Famous for being distant and blunt, he is known in Hollywood as someone who dislikes small talk, meeting fans, or long interviews. Jones is notorious for turning down conversations he deems intrusive, and is very particular about signing autographs, reinforcing the image of a man who values privacy over public charm. Moments in his career came from the film Batman Forever. Jim Carrey recounted an awkward encounter at a restaurant where Jones told him, "I hate you. I really don't like you. I can't stand your antics." This remark highlighted the conflict between Jones's traditional serious acting style and Carrey's energetic comedic style. That bluntness, though rare in Hollywood, has long sparked stories about Jones being hard to work with. Over the years, reports have described him as gruff with the crew and generally indifferent to the typical Hollywood social scene, suggesting that his stern persona on screen isn't far from reality. However, despite the difficulties, Jones is still respected for his talent and long-standing career. And what about you? What do you think made him such a controversial figure? Do you feel he deserved more recognition, or do you believe everything happened the way it was meant to? Leave a 1 in the comments if you sympathize with these stars, or a 0 if you have a different opinion. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so you won't miss any of our upcoming videos. See you in the next one.